Yo, are you new to the bike life and you're looking for the perfect new motorcycle for you, but you have no idea where to start? Well, make sure you watch this video all the way through. I'm gonna give you the tips to help you find the perfect new motorcycle for you so you don't make the same mistakes that I did when I bought my first motorcycle. Welcome to the Easy Rider Moto YouTube channel, baby. Yo, welcome back to the channel. So listen, I'm at my local motorcycle dealership here, and I'm gonna give you guys all the tips that you need to know to pick out the perfect motorcycle for you. So some of the questions that I'm often asked when it comes to picking out the first motorcycle for you are, what is the best bike? What's a good bike to start off with? Well, if that question was as simple as it is asked, I will give you the answer for it. But because it's not, it's a very formulative answer. Sometimes that question comes with questions in itself. Meaning, what type of rider are you? What is your body size? What are you looking to get out of your motorcycle? What are you planning on doing with the motorcycle? What are some of the things that you would like to get out of the motorcycle? And what are some of the motorcycles that some of your peers and friends have? If you're just getting on a motorcycle for the first time, I highly would not recommend getting a ultra super bike such as the Ninja H2. But you could simplify things and start off with, say, a Gixxer 600. If you're looking to get into the motorcycle super bike or sport bike atmosphere, or the Yamaha R6 or R7. Or if you're trying to get more simplified with things, you could start off with the Kawasaki 650. All the things, or the 400, all the things that you have here are things that you have to ask yourself. What are you looking for out of a motorcycle? Are you trying to race the motorcycle? Are you learning just to say, hey, I'm planning on riding a motorcycle just for casual fun or to save gas, or all of the things that come along with it? Because those are things that's going to ask yourself and make a determination in your decision. If you're trying to race a motorcycle, for example, you have two Kawasaki Ninjas here, right? This is a Kawasaki Ninja 400. It is a 400cc motorcycle that is fitted with a full system Akrapovic exhaust on it. Now, that is not a stock part. That is an aftermarket part. Right next to it, you have the big brother, which is the Kawasaki ZX-10R, the Ninja. This is a 1000cc motorcycle. These are two completely different motorcycles. Even though they hold the same name, the Kawasaki Ninja is the only thing that they have in common. This is a 1000cc motor here. This motorcycle produces about 180 to 190 horsepower. This motorcycle here, far less. It is a smaller displacement engine, meaning you will get more out of the motorcycle by choosing the Kawasaki ZX-10. If you choose to get the Kawasaki 400, you'll get better gas mileage. You'll get more of a rideability for a starter or beginner. Same as the Kawasaki 650. This motorcycle here is set up similar to the Kawasaki 400, but it does display a bigger engine size, a 650cc engine. So to ask yourself, what would be a good motorcycle to start with? Would one of these motorcycles be a great start? Very possible. I've seen some people start on 1000cc motorcycles, but that means that they're essentially trying to not have to upgrade soon, or their purpose is to get better at their craft in racing motorcycles or do anything like that, which comes along with it. So this would be a great start to start with here if you plan on getting into racing or going faster, which would be a 1000cc motorcycle in itself. A 400, you would be possibly upgrading soon after purchase, maybe within the first year or two after getting used to it and getting comfortable with it, because this simply would not be enough for you if you were trying to race. This motorcycle would be a good start to learn how to ride. If you fall on it, wouldn't be too expensive to repair. The motorcycle itself would not cost as much as the big brother Kawasaki ZX-10. The 650 also, it's not a big powerhouse motorcycle, although it is a 650cc engine. It's not a big performing motorcycle. It's more of a touring bike. It's more comfortable. It would accommodate you for your comfort levels. Bringing you guys along to the Suzukis here, you have two of these motorcycles that are phenomenal. They both are Suzuki GSXRs, but the difference in the two are, this is a 750, which means that it's 750 cc's, and this is the Suzuki Gixxer 1000, which means it is the 1000 superbike. This motorcycle here will be a good choice in motorcycle for someone who plans on experiencing the full potential that Suzuki has to offer. This motorcycle here, I would not recommend as a beginner bike, but I definitely would recommend it if you were planning on upgrading to this motorcycle, or instead of having to upgrade shortly after, this motorcycle would be a great choice and decision and an option. This motorcycle does have a lot of safety features that helps you as a beginner, rider aids and stuff like that to help you learn how to ride in this motorcycle. Out the factory, it comes with about 162 to 168 horsepower stock. You can definitely modify this motorcycle, and you can put it in different rider modes to help this motorcycle dumb down for you if you're a beginner, where it takes some of the torque out, takes some of the power out. A lot of the modern technology motorcycles do offer that. The Suzuki Gixxer 750 here is a 750cc engine, inline four engine, that also has a lot of rider aids, but it also is more forgiving for a beginner. Meaning if you want to ride on the highways, you can keep up with all your friends. It's a great beginner bike, but it also allows room for certain mistakes. As crazy as that sounds, motorcycles really are non-forgiving, but it would give you more room to play for error versus its big brother, the Suzuki Gixxer 1000. I'm gonna bring you guys along over here to the Suzuki 600, Gixxer 600, which is also a very similar powerhouse. It is the smallest brother out of the three, and that motorcycle also would be a good choice for a motorcycle. It comes in a 600cc engine, which puts out about 123 horsepower stock. The 750 here will be a great middle choice because you don't necessarily have to upgrade to another bike immediately after. You can ride this motorcycle for quite a while, as you can with the Gixxer 600 as well. But the middle bike is a great choice. This is the bigger brother. And we'll go over here to the Suzuki GSXR 1300R, which is known as the big Suzuki Hayabusa. And this motorcycle here is the biggest brother out of all of the Suzukis. This motorcycle is a sport touring hyper bike, but it is the most powerful, biggest bike that Suzuki has to offer. This is a 2023 model Gixxer 1300 Suzuki Hayabusa. And this motorcycle is the biggest and heaviest motorcycle out of all of the motorcycles that are out with Suzuki's brand line as far as the sports bikes go. So this motorcycle here would be for a bigger rider. Smaller riders do ride this motorcycle. This bike is a modified powerhouse when it's modified. You add an exhaust system on it, stretch the swing arm out, and you have a top tier contending motorcycle with racing. But this bike also has a great comfort level with riding and being comfortable for long distance trips. As you see, the handlebars are in a less aggressive race position. The seat is more comfortable, thicker padding wider seat for the rider and the passenger as well. So if you're looking for a long distance sport bike that works, this bike works. This bike is perfect for you. The Suzuki Hayabusa is a great choice. I'm gonna go into a couple other bikes that might be good for you. And I'll also go into some of the features that these motorcycles offer individually. So leading into the Hondas, Honda has a couple of flagship motorcycles as well. This motorcycle here particularly is the Honda CBR 600RR. This motorcycle here also almost emulates its big brother, the CBR 1000 RRR SP, and also the 1000 RR. This motorcycle is a great beginner bike as well. It is very beautiful. It looks just as cool as any other motorcycle. As you see it parked right here next to the Suzuki Gixxer 1000. This thing competes with just about every other 600 on the market. Also, it has a very beautiful look to it. This motorcycle is a great beginner bike. Speaking of beginner bikes, I'm here alongside with one of my partners that also chose this motorcycle for his very first motorcycle back in 2007 as his very first motorcycle. So asking him, what made you choose your very first motorcycle and make the decision on the bike that you picked?
Well, I was taught on Honda, and I was more comfortable with one, so that's why I chose it. I drove 600 because I didn't feel like I was waiting for a 1,000 power. It was a great starter bike, great maneuver, it looked good, loved it. Still a Honda man to today.
And now he currently has the Honda CBR 1000 RR. What are some tips that you would give somebody as a new first-time buyer buying their very first motorcycle, whatever brand it is or whatever they're looking for? What would you recommend for them, or what are some tips you would give them?
First thing first, sit on the bike. Make sure it fits you, your size, your build. That's thing first. Don't buy it just off brand. Don't buy it just off power. Actually sit on the motorcycle, see if you like it, see if it's comfortable for you, because you have to ride. After that, now you can look at what you want out of the bike. Do you want the fastest bike? Do you want something that's maneuverable? Do you just want to ride? Do you want to be out? It's all about personal preference.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that 100%, because you can always upgrade to something else. You can get the bigger brother or the bigger brand or the better brand or whatever it may be. It all depends on what you're searching for and what your desires are for your particular motorcycle. How does that motorcycle feel to you as far as if you were a rider sitting on the motorcycle or to purchase that motorcycle?
Seat's uncomfortable. The bike feels good.
So the seat is uncomfortable?
Not heavy. I don't know, just a stock seat.
So those are some things that you have to look into as well when purchasing your first motorcycle is, does the bike feel comfortable to you? Because you will be spending the most amount of time on the motorcycle as you're riding it, because no one else will be riding the motorcycle more than you will. So if the seat's not comfortable, if the handlebar position is not comfortable, if the foot pegs are too high, that will draw a problem when it comes to purchasing your first motorcycle. So make sure you are observant of that and you look into that when doing the research on your particular motorcycle. As a first-time buyer for this motorcycle, what would you feel as far as sitting on this motorcycle? What does this bike feel like to you?
Bike feels good. A little wider than this one, I think. More comfortable. Seat-wise.
Okay.
It has a really good touch to it, actually. Just never been a Kyle fan.
Well,
Nice bikes.
but that is where it comes into play of all the things that comes to buying your first motorcycle. If you're not a Kawasaki fan, but that bike feels better than, say, the Gixxer 1000 does, where does it lead you to? Does it say, okay, well, I'm going to choose this bike because it feels better, but you're not a fan of it? So now your purchase is unsatisfied. You spend money on a motorcycle that you're not completely satisfied with. When you buy your first motorcycle, you want to be completely 100% in love with the motorcycle. You don't want to invest your money into a motorcycle that is something that will not ultimately bring you 1,000 smiles per mile. And that's a key to it. You want to make sure that you are buying something that you are benefiting from. Sir, how does that feel for you on the Ducati 899 Panigale?
Very narrow. Very narrow. Very light. Very clickable. But, like, this one's a little small for me.
Now,
Nice
say
bike, though.
say if they had say if you were sitting on a Ducati V4 or V4R or V4S, those motorcycles come in a bigger package. So that motorcycle in particular would be better for a smaller rider because, as you see, Savage, as my model, is a bigger guy. He's a bigger rider, and the motorcycle is designed for a smaller race rider, which there is no discrimination when it comes to riding motorcycles. Theoretically, we're just trying to explain what works best for you as a first-time buyer.
A little older version of that one, but really similar. Everything about it feels pretty good, though. I don't know if I can do a 600 nowadays, but it's a nice bike.
Not as a rider where you're coming from a 1000, but just as a new rider, how does that bike feel position-wise, body, ergonomics for you? What do you feel like?
It's a really good feel, actually. Like just sitting on it, I will look further into purchasing.
Okay. And that is the Gixxer 600. That is the smaller brother of the Gixxer 1000 here. Question of what is the best motorcycle for you to pick out? I want you to ask yourself, what is your extent of motorcycle experience? How experienced are you when it comes to riding a motorcycle? What motorcycle best fits you? All is depending on that answer to that, because you have different varieties of motorcycles, as you see here, that could be best for you. You have every imagination of motorcycle when it comes down to it, whether it's 2 wheels or 3. Now, some of the things that I definitely recommend is asking yourself and asking your peers, and also doing an extensive amount of research on what motorcycles you think, 1, look best for you, 2, feel best for you, and 3, work best for you. Do extensive research on it. Look it up. Look up the reviews on the motorcycle. Look and see if that motorcycle is best fit for you, because you could be completely unsatisfied when it comes to purchasing your first motorcycle. The mistake that I made was I instantly jumped on a motorcycle that I seen for a good deal, and I didn't do much research on the motorcycle, and to find out, the motorcycle that I bought was pretty much a bust. I bought the motorcycle, and 2 months later, blew the engine on it. Had to pay extreme amount of money at the time, being 17 years old. Had to pay an extensive amount of money to get the engine rebuilt on that motorcycle. The motorcycle was down for the entire summer. Got it back towards the end of the summer. Rode it for another 2 years, blew the engine on it again. It was not my fault. It was the builder's fault at the time. But needless to say, I made a mistake by jumping the gun on a motorcycle that I did not do much research on or have much experience doing it. I just kind of had the money in my pocket, burning a hole, and jumped the gun on it, probably when I should not have. And it ended up biting me in the butt. So now I know more. I wish that I had this video to help me out when I first went to purchase my first motorcycle, but I'm going to pass on this knowledge to you guys, and hopefully it helps you out when it comes to buying your first motorcycle. Catch you guys on the next one, only on the Easy Rider Moto YouTube channel. Peace.